Linwood-Central-Heathcote Community Board, Alexandra Davids, with Matt McClintock.
Kia ora koutou katoa. Thank you so much for having us here today. Thank you to Matt for being my clicker. I appreciate it. Click away. As you are all aware, we held our by-election recently to the community board, and on the 2nd of November, Sunita was sworn in, and we are all looking forward to her input to both the board and our communities. So saying a massive congratulations to her, and it's great to finally have a full board again. We had community board meetings held on the 16th of September, 28th of September and the 14th of October, and some decisions made under delegation were granting a lease to the Mount Pleasant Pottery Group to the Red Cliffs Community Building. It'll be fantastic having them finally back in the area. The board voted for Sue Allen, and she received a YDF grant of $200 towards competing in the Rambutan Kendo Taikai Championship in Wellington. And the board have also granted the Christchurch Collective for the Homeless a discretionary response fund of $5,000 towards the development and implementation of policies and procedures. They are continuing their valued work and helping our most vulnerable in the city, and we thank them so much for that. We wanted to start a discussion around digital exclusion in council consultations. We're not saying that this happens all of the time, but we had Elizabeth Graham. She came to the board and presented at Public Forum on, again, the 2nd of November regarding her experience submitting to the draft tree policy. There is an ongoing participation issue for those who are not online. We would like to see timely information shared in libraries for those in our communities that do not have access to or the ability to use digital copies of public consultations. So the board has been advocating on behalf of the Woolston community regarding the installation of a green right turn arrow to NZTA for the Ferry Road, Rutherford Street right turn. We agreed to send a letter to the New Zealand Transport Authority safety team advocating that a green right turn arrow be installed to enable motorists to turn from Ferry Road travelling from the city into Rutherford Street safely. We have a lot of elderly people in the area, and at certain times of the day it becomes near impossible and very dangerous for people trying to make the turn. We are still waiting for a response from NZTA, but are hoping, after many staff follow-ups, this is not far off. Here are some photos of the future Sumner and Hero Awards and the community farewell to Ruth Dyson on the 20th of October. The event acknowledged individuals, groups and businesses who have made significant contribution to the Sumner community within the past 12 months. All award nominees met the Sumner Community Residents Association mission statement of helping to make Sumner a flourishing community that empowers and connects people and place. And the Canterbury Refugee Resettlement and Resource Centre, based in Phillipstown Community Hub, has a small community garden right next to the hub's own vegetable garden, which welcomes families to come and learn about growing food and gardening. The number of volunteers is steadily growing as families go down to meet others from their home countries and those who are also going through the stressful process of adapting to a new country and society. And this is another fantastic initiative bringing our diverse communities together through education and sustainable practices. On Saturday, the 7th of November, the Charleston Neighbourhood Association celebrated their 40th anniversary. John and Jenny Hoskin have been involved since its establishment and continue to serve their community today. They were awarded certificates in appreciation on behalf of the board. This is a small neighbourhood association, but they have a lot of energy, passion and time for their community, and we're lucky to have them continually pushing issues and taking action in a positive way alongside the board and council. And this is our last slide. Dugald Wilson briefed the community board on the fabulous work being done by the Friends of Laura Kent Reserve Group and shared their aspirations to have an eel feeding station on the bank of the Upawahau-Heathcote River. The board has asked staff to look into the opportunity of storing timber from the Opawa Rail Bridge until such time as it can be used to create the steps. In just over 3 years, they have planted over 1,500 natives and made the area a far more safe and well-used corridor for the community. This has been a great example of a working group working collectively and collaboratively and effectively with council, and we really appreciate their commitment to the area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Yanni, you wanted to speak to this. Sorry? Did anyone have any questions? Right, Yanni.
Oh, cool. I was just going to ask if staff could just play a short video on the ferry road. It's only 30 seconds, just to highlight the danger. So this is... Oh, that's okay. Do you want me to talk first and we'll just shot at the end? Might be better. Yeah. So I was just going to move an additional resolution that the council support the community board's advocacy to NZTA for the right turning arrow. And that really, I've given councillors a timeline. This was first raised in a deputation on the 8th of July. The board felt that it was urgent advice needed because of the health and safety issues with the red light running, but also the fact that this site is a roadwork site as well. And there's a lot of queuing now that was happening because of the roadworks. 31st of August, the board still hadn't heard, so it wrote to the Chief Executive of the Council. That letter was sent on the 8th of October. On the 14th of October, we had a public excluded briefing where we were advised that it wasn't actually Council's responsibility, it was NZTA's responsibility. It was good. We did have a lot of information at that PX briefing, and the board agreed to send a letter to the NZTA requesting and advocating that a green right turn arrow be installed. But on the 11th of November, and this is when this video was taken, we've still had no response from NZTA. So I'd hope that the council would help the board advocate for it. It's a really dangerous intersection, and it's frightening to see the number of people that are just continually going through the red light. I just wanted to give you two other quick points in regards to the board's agenda. Just to say that the last image that you saw of that reserve, huge community volunteer planting engagement on a regular basis. The other side has a bit of a gap. It is one of the master plan projects that was going to have a footbridge, but actually for a small amount of money we could get something similar on the other side, and that was what I was talking to the other day when we were talking about some of the master plan projects. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then the final thing I just wanted to highlight is with this intersection, the deputation that was made in the public agenda was unable to attend the briefing because we've been told that there's a directive that briefings are public excluded and the community isn't able to attend. And it seemed to me in the board's report this month to council, there's two items where people have come in public and raised the concerns, and then we've had public excluded briefings where they're not being able to come and hear what the staff are saying. And I think we do need to think about that. So I'm probably going to raise that in the Ombudsman's report back that we've got coming up later today, because it does seem to me a shame that when we've got the really good information from staff, that the community who have made the deputation are unable to hear it directly. But I would welcome the support for this, and I'll let you play the video.
Thank you. We've got some... Oh, right.
Apologies for not having sound effects, Councillor Keogh suggested it might be a bit more dramatic to slow it down and speed it up. Yeah, speed it up.
And add kids, that's what Hornby did.
Yeah, Tim.
It seems a lot of letter writing, etc. Would it be an idea to get CTOC, NZTA and council staff to a meeting with the board in one go? That would be the logical thing for me. I mean, we get really good buy-in now with the NZTA with our board, which is fantastic, and we've got a really positive communication now with our staff, NZTA, and so that's saved a million things. So
On the 14th of October, we didn't have the community there, but we did have council staff and NZTA.
and
So-
CTOC.
I think CTOC were there. I'm not sure who the exact. I'm pretty sure CTOC, the chair might be able to answer that. But with CTOC, I think CTOC, we had some people there from different operations in council and NZTA. So
Mike.
How many crashes have there been at that intersection?
I'm not. We've got a lot of information that we can send through. But it's more the risk, like the deputation. The chair can talk.
I
to it.
don't
I'll let
believe
the
there
chair
has been a
talk
lot
to
of
it.
crashes there. So obviously when we have had previous advice back, there was information that came through that there weren't a lot of crashes there. But I think it's more with when you look at the demographics of those communities, you just see people waiting. And I think everybody is aware that it's a dangerous intersection. So everybody's taking their time. But actually it is a huge risk, especially for the people living in that area.
Thanks, Alex.
Well, we've got some words here which is around supporting the community board's advocacy to Wakakotahe New Zealand Transport Agency for a right-turning arrow at Ferry Road, Rutherford Street intersection. It is always challenging when a local road crosses an NZTA road.
I'm just wondering if we're going straight to the solution though, which perhaps we should be advocating for them to investigate the intersection, because we can't just assume that it needs a right turning arrow, and there's sometimes reasons why they don't put them in, and it may well be a right turning arrow, but I don't think we should be going straight to the solution. That's just my view.
Yeah, that they don't, as I understand it, it wouldn't be them that puts it in, is that right?
Them being...
NZTA, because the right turning arrow you want on Ferry Road, not
Yes.
on the state highway, but you need their permission. Have I got
Yes.
that right?
Yes, I think that's
So,
correct.
and the community board has had a traffic assessment on a right turning lane there? Mm-hmm. And
So I don't know how much we can disclose. I mean, there's a whole report in PX.
that essentially it supports a right turning arrow. So I think this is all we can do at the moment is to lend our weight to the community board's consideration of
Yeah.
this.
So we are obviously waiting for that letter to come back, and we are hoping to get that back today.
Right.
But we're still waiting. But we did have a really positive meeting with them, so I'm hoping that we come to a conclusion that's best for that community.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for a day. We won't send it today. We'll send it tomorrow.
I mean, there's the two issues. There's the issue with the roadworks, which is creating a bit of a problem, and then there is the
This is
permanent
a
thing.
separate issue, is it?
No, it's the same. It's the same piece of road, but while they've got,
How does the right turning arrow solve that?
because what they've done is they've put road cones and shortened some of the queuing distance to make the right
Because there are
turn.
temporary roadworks happening
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So in
they're
the
two
past,
different issues.
There's been arrows put in
Mike?
for roadworks.
So I sort of just missed the response to the that staff actually supported a right turning arrow in the PX item. I just didn't actually hear.
I don't know.
am not sure of the actual support for that
Yeah.
green arrow.
Yeah, I'm just a bit hesitant of
remember
giving our
that?
support of actually having full information. Yeah,
No, look, I think that, I mean, what the community board are looking for is some support from the wider council to get action on this intersection. So let's maybe, if we again take up Pauline's point and Mike's point, really of not going to the solution, but actually just say that support the community board's advocacy to Waka Kotahi
For improved safety.
for improved safety outcomes
And risk reduction or something.
and risk reduction. That's a good wording. Improved safety outcomes and risk reduction at Ferry Road, Rutherford Street intersection. And then that doesn't
That would be
close off
great.
if they say no to the
Green light.
to
Yep.
the arrow. Then if they don't give a green light to a red light, I mean to a green light to a green arrow,
No.
then it gives us some further options to be working with them on the corner.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Good. All right. No, I'd rather not. Well, I mean, you can send it to whoever you like, but don't send it to me because there's no point at this stage. You could actually send it to Mike and have a discussion with him as the chair of the committee, if that would be useful. It probably would be, because he sits on most of the regional, well, he sits on the regional one as well. All right, so Yanni, you'd like to move this? And seconded by Jake. I will put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.